So Solomon sends the priests from the temple in Jerusalem with him so that they can make sure that he observes all of the Jewish holy days, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Hanukkah, whatever else they do, Festival of Lights, Festival of the Booths, Pentecost, and that he observes the dietary rites, and that he worships on the seventh day, everything that a good bar mitzvah young man in the religion of the Hebrews, the religion of Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob should be doing. He sends the priest with this kid back to Ethiopia. Now, the priests being sent by the king to Ethiopia is like a minister from Trinity United Church of Christ who's been on the staff here, multiple staff church with health benefits, vacation pay, car benefit, multiple staff, 10 preachers, guaranteed salary, being sent to Coahoma, Mississippi. The closest city to Coahoma is Clarksdale, Mississippi. And the priest says, he's got to be kidding. She got somebody else. All y'all related, y'all better talk. She's from Coahoma, by the way. And the priest did not want to go to Coahoma, which is what Ethiopia was. So, just like you saw in the movie Roots, when they were finally pulling that child away from her home, she grabbed the dirt to take with her so she would have a part of home with her. The priest said, well, if we got to go to Ethiopia, we're going to take the presence of the Lord with us to make sure the Lord is with us, because ain't nothing down there in Coahoma. What they went and took with them was something that would not be missed until the anniversary of the only time it was seen. They went into the temple in Jerusalem. They went into Solomon's temple in Jerusalem. And in Solomon's temple there was the Holy of Holies. In the Holy of Holies there sat the Ark of the Covenant. In the Ark of the Covenant there were the 10 commandments, or the stones that Moses brought down, and Aaron's rod, a budding, and some manna, things that were in the wilderness with them, that sat in the Holy of Holies in that temple. Nobody was allowed in the Holy of Holies in the temple except the high priest on the Day of Atonement. When the high priest went into the Holy of Holies on the Day of Atonement, it was such a sacred moment and was such a scary moment, because he was going to call on the name of God. He was going to call, that was the only time that name could be pronounced, by the high priest in the Holy of Holies in the temple in Jerusalem. And that holy name pronounced by the high priest was the name Yahweh. Y-H, that W is pronounced like a V-H. I pointed out to Cherie the other day. Cherie was looking at the Hebrew Bible. She said, they write backwards. They were writing before you. You the one writing backwards. You write right to left. This name was so sacred. Pat Abney, tell your Jehovah's Witnesses to this. The name was so sacred that it was never pronounced except by the high priest. Now, when you had students, and they were boys for the most part, way back in biblical times and these times, learning Hebrew, the danger was that a child learning Hebrew would look at that YHWH and say it while learning how to read by accident. And the name was so sacred, too sacred ever to be said by accident even. What is the second commandment of the 10 commandments? Do not take the name of thy Lord thy God. You can't say that name, even by accident, because when you say that name, God is coming to see what you want. In the naming ceremonies that go on in your church, a part of your faith story, or you will over here on the Christian side, same as in Africa with the outdooring services in Ghana, where the name is pronounced by the parents. A name is given, and the name is pronounced by the parents. The name is chosen by the parents. A child does not choose his or her name. It is given to them, and it is pronounced publicly. On the 8th day in the Jewish tradition, when Jesus was taken up to the temple, on the 8th day is pronounced in the temple, in the house of God. In the outdooring ceremonies in Ghana, it is pronounced in the community, among the people. That's when the child becomes a whole person. They don't give the child a name before the 8th day. In fact, boys, girls are 16 or longer, because the child might not live, and the child might go back to God. But after 8 days, we know the child's going to be here. That's when you give the child his or her name. When you are born, your name, what was your mama's name? Maiden name, your name, maiden name. Anyone? What was your name, your maiden name, your family name? Smith. When she was born, it had on her wrist or her ankle, Smith baby. In the hospital. That's what it says, Smith baby. That's the family name. The family then gives you your Christian name. Loretta, what's your middle name? Anita. Now, footnote, my brothers from Sudan here this afternoon, the brothers from Sudan point out something, again, going back to the whole notion of European, Middle East, center of the world. Christening, y'all know what the word christening, that comes from giving you your Christian name in a service of worship. All right? And the brothers and sisters from Africa want to know, why is it that your Christian name has to be George? That ain't in the Bible. Heather ain't in the Bible. Loretta ain't in the Bible. Anita ain't got nothing to do with Christian. It has something to do with being European. That's where you get your European name that we call christening. And if your name is Salih, Salim, Yusuf, no, we're going to give you a European name. That's the christening. And they won't let the Africans keep their African names. They so-called christening by giving them a European name, a name from their culture. Just as